walls. Walls look like they did before, but the cube part of it has a nav mesh obstacle component that carves out a hole. So this piece of the walls that I was generating for my maze is going to put down a chunk of space around it to say don't go here. Let's see how that looks. Pause it. Let's go back to my scene. That's my maze that was generated. Let's look at the navigation underneath it. It is not a very good use of our polygons. It would look a little better if this was smaller, but it carved out a nav mesh based on these obstacles. If my walls were moving in this maze, then pieces would be moving for the nav mesh. And doors would open and close, and paths would be created and destroyed. And you can see in here, I've set up the enemy way over here. I've set myself here. And we can watch. Oh, I started it up again. You can watch that enemy start moving towards me. Yeah, you can see it in the other one. So let me try to change my orientation here. Oh, so many windows. Much better. Okay. My scene. Now you can see it a little better. Here is the automatic path finding using the nav mesh to come and get me. And it can solve that maze using the A-star algorithm to look through those nodes incrementally. It doesn't take forever. It's not a breadth first search. It's not a depth first search. It's looking at the global paths along the way. Okay, so now back in my maze. Oh, there it is. Oh, it got me. Yeah. And so every 5 seconds or every 2 seconds, it figures out where I am and tries to follow me. It's like, no. So it's always there behind me, looking around. And we can update that more frequently, depending on what's going on. The path that it takes was dynamically updated as the obstacles moved, but the target wasn't. The target I had to be updating with this update loop, with this coroutine, putting things together. Okay, any questions? Some of this nav mesh stuff is not possible in Unity 4 with the free version. That's why I recommend making the switch, download Unity 5, use this nav mesh stuff. Your next sort of project lab will be making a game involving nav mesh, incorporating it into either your earlier maze, making ghosts actually try to find you in a Pac-Man-ish game, doing whatever you want with this nav mesh idea should give you and open up tons of possibilities for autonomously controlled agents in your world. They're not just seeking or avoiding being greedy and local in what they do every update, but they can do long-term planning of what should be happening at a global scale. Any questions? Is this interesting and relevant? What you want to do? Okay. Okay. Something else to think about? How could we get it not just to go for one target, but we could have it say cycle? Is there a guard in this cubicle farm? That's what I think this is. This is some kind of office that I've created, unfortunately. It looks like an office space. So there's some kind of night watchman guard moving around, and it goes to 5 locations. But if it sees you, it needs to do something else. You have to sneak your way around to do something.
Yes.
That's the kind of thing you could do with this. It sort of got stuck. Oh no. That's weird.
Coming to check your productivity, but your coworker over there is on Reddit, so he's like,
Yes. Yes. So that's where we are with nav meshes. And I had to do it dynamically with these obstacles. They weren't in earlier versions of Unity, but they're there now, and they're really amazing to help you dynamically update your nav mesh. Now in your scene, where are you? In your window. What kind of stats am I getting? It's still pretty fast. But the more this nav mesh works, the more it does, the slower it's going to get. Okay, so that's where we have on navigation and pathfinding. What's next for us? Coming up in this course is your second presentation. You're going to tell the rest of the class about a tool that you found, learned about, came up with a small demo for us of how it's relevant for game development. Wonderful list of tools is found on the Ludum Dare website under Tools. And it says, here's things that people have used. If you don't know what kind of tools are possible out there, here's Unity 3D, engines, yay. But there's ways to say, how do I make 2D graphics? So I'm not just staring at all these gray cubes all the time. How do I make 3D graphics? Blender, Maya, other pieces like that. What kind of tools are available that we can share with each other and teach each other about some of these tools for making nice audio mixes, editing, generating sounds, making maps and tiles. These are not the only tools that are out there. You might find something else that is super awesome that you want to share with people for how to make games and make better games happen. That's what I want you to be able to share with us. So I will need to know your choice of tool by Thursday. So I don't want 3 people saying how awesome GIMP is. Again, we've got to balance these out. Give me your ranked top 2 choices for tools. If there's still conflict, then I'll come back and have people choose again of what's going on. But think about a tool that you would want to use. Yeah?
does it have to be from this list?
Not at all. No. This is just a sample of the types of things people have found useful as a game developer. But if there's some tool that's not on here, go for it. Or there's some type of tool that's not on here, go for it. Let me know the thing that you want to teach us to make us all better game developers. So it's going to be a 12-minute presentation. They're going to be starting, I think, that first week of April. And you're going to have a 12-minute chunk to give a presentation. I'll send a bit more specifications about exactly what I'm looking for your presentation. Because I also want you to say, here's the tool, here's how it works, and now here's a small thing for you to do to go learn that tool. So you have to think not just how I would use the tool and present it, but what I would do to teach somebody and have a small little demo, maybe half an hour, 20 minutes, that somebody would run through and say, hey, yeah, click there, click this, put that together. I now know how to use the tool instead of just watching you. So I want you to think not just presentation of the tool, but how to use it as an educational piece. Okay, other questions? So that's what we have for today. Use the rest of your time to think about tools. Do some tool exploration. If you want to tell me your top 2 tool choices today, that would be great. If you still have lingering questions about your steering behavior minigame, let me know. I received one of them via a web deployment. Try to think about that. That's what's going to be really helpful for your project. That's what I want for the project. And it's going to be better to think about it early. So if you're struggling with how to make that web deployment, let me know. I think you have space on Ozark. haven't tested it for students, but I know that I have web space on Ozark under the www directory, and you can drop your HTML and Unity stuff in that directory, and then it should be on the web for people to look at and play your little mini game. So take the time now, think about tools, try to get your thing deployed to the web as I showed on last Thursday, and work on that if there's no questions. We're good. Okay, I've not been checking the chat, see if there's anybody in there. Oh, there's been people. Yes, download Unity 5. That's what you're going to do next. Nav mesh jumping is only based on a single point. Yes, you pick a particular transform spot, XYZ, particular transform spot, XYZ, and you have to connect them up. If you want there to be a whole space, you have to make a lot of nav mesh jumps. You can make 20 of them in a row that go from one spot to the next, but you can't just say, here's a plane of nav mesh jumping. It has to be individual spots. Okay, cool. So that's all of our class for today. Otherwise, we will just be looking at tools and trying to export things as a class. Okay, we are done.